ultimate for a Kentuckiana stock car racer is to be able to wheel his ride down this lane, Victory Lane at Louisville Motor Speedway. And there's going to be one whale of a celebration coming up here this Friday night for the first major figure-8 event of 1991. Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas, and welcome to Channel 15's presentation of Louisville Speedway's Let's Go Racing. Now, in just a minute, we're going to join Frank Scott, who's going to look back at all the highlights Carl Blanton captured from this past weekend at LMS on Friday night with the AutoWorks Figure-8, the NASCAR Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division, and the Ken Towery General Tire Rookie Bombers. We'll also look back at last Saturday, Granger Select Night at the Speedway. There you found the NASCAR Winston Bush late models, the Ken Towery Auto Care Center General Tire mini stocks, and the Dial 1 Bombers, all with complete racing programs. But before we look back, we want to look ahead just a bit, because everybody at the Speedway is super excited about the first major figure-8 race of 1991. It is the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s. It comes up this coming Friday night, and it really is a test, it's a double duty test, if you will, for the AutoWorks Figure-8 division. And I mean, the wild Figure-8 guys will be going through the X, in essence, 100 times. The Twin 25 says it all. The top Figure-8 racers at LMS will race in two separate 25-lap features in the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s. The winner is determined by the best finish in both races, best combined finish. It is a tough, grueling event. You've got to be strong, consistent, and you've got to be able to hang in there for all 100 trips through the intersection if you want to win this baby. It's going to be a great event on Friday night, the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s, plus the Rookie Bombers and the Sportsmen in action. And then, of course, this Saturday, another big night of race action. GE will be on hand. We're going to have a lot of great racing with our regular Saturday divisions as well. So a big weekend coming up, especially highlighted by the Pronto Motorcraft Twin 25s. Well, that's what's going to be on your show next week, but we've got some great action from last week to look at. And right now, to take us through those highlights, let's go to the voice of Louisville Speedway, Frank Scott.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. Standing down here in the pit area where a lot of the Bomber Division Figure-8 cars, Sportsman cars are lined up here at the track getting set to go out and do some practicing. Before we take a look at the videotape racing action from last Friday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway, I want to talk a little bit about the Rookie Bomber Division. Now, this car right beside me here is driven and owned by Greg Stone. Greg started out in the Rookie Bomber Division and then moved up to the Oval Bombers, then began racing on Saturday nights here at the Speedway. If you thought about maybe getting involved in stock car racing, but really didn't want to spend a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of mechanical know-how involved, stop by the Speedway office. We've got a division for you. It's the Rookie Bomber Division, and this year it's the class is sponsored by Ken Towery Auto Care Centers and General Tires. The Rookie Bomber Division, your place to start out racing at Louisville Motor Speedway. For more information, stop by the Speedway office. Well, let's take a look at the racing action last Friday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway. The AutoWorks Figure-8 division going into action, along with the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division and the Ken Towery General Tire Rookie Bombers. Well, the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division got things started last Friday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway as the field rolls off into turns 1 and 2 on the early pace laps of the contest. Crestwood, Kentucky's Joe Lewis driving the Crestwood Napa Motor Parts Center Certified Transmission Center Racing Chevrolet, pacing the field down into turns 3 and 4 on the parade lap. Starting up on the outside of him, the number 1, the Kentucky Custom Cycles Barbie Brake and Radiator sponsored Chevy Camaro of Donnie Sullivan. As they go off into turns 1 and 2, the field begins assembling themselves down the back straightaway. Quickly, the number 8 of Chuck Winders comes up and takes over the number 3 position and is challenged along the inside by the number 53, the Tumbleweed Mexican Restaurants Racing Chevrolet of Joe Williamson Jr. Also joining into the fray, the number 09, that's Wade Johnson, runner-up in point standings, driving the Pro Crafters Race Car Parts and Fabrications Camaro, and the number 5 of Chuck Barnes, the current point leader in this division as they move down the front straightaway. Chuck driving his Bibby's Barbecue, Suburban Used Cars, and Robert Hobart Trucking Company Racing Camaro, prepared out of the LZ Race Car Fabricating Shops. They get double stacked down in turns 3 and 4. The early leader is the number 44 of Joe Lewis. The number 8 of Chuck Winders comes up, takes over the number 2 spot, followed by the number 1 of Donnie Sullivan, and then a great race back at 4th place between Joe Williamson Jr. and the number 5 of Chuck Barnes, who appears to be on the move early in the contest. After After about 10 laps of competition, though, Joe Lewis was challenged for the lead by car number 8, the Craig and Landreth Cars, McDonald's Restaurants, and Foley Automotive Racing Camaro of the 1989 late model champion at Louisville Motor Speedway, Chuck Winders. Winders makes the pass going into turns 1 and 2 and takes over the number 1 spot. Lewis now relegated to second, and the number 09 of Wade Johnson left to battle for third place with the number 5 of Chuck Barnes as they scoot down the front straightaway and back into turns 1 and 2. The race was caution flagged once for Donnie Sullivan when he stalled his Camaro up in turns 1 and 2 of the Speedway. But after the green flag came back out, it was Wade Johnson getting around Joe Lewis and taking over the number 2 spot. The final laps of the event saw Chuck Winders, the leader, being challenged by car number 09, Wade Johnson, down the back straightaway. As they come around out of turn number 4, Chuck Winders collects his first feature win of the 1991 racing season. Winders sponsored by Craig and Landreth Cars, McDonald's Restaurants, and Foley Automotive. Wade Johnson across the line at second, car number 44. Joe Lewis for third. Chuck Barnes holds on to the point lead at fourth, and Joe Williamson Jr. rounds out the top 5. Next up, we'll take a look at the AutoWorks Figure-8 25-lap feature event for the top 24 drivers in the point standings. Don't forget, race fans, this coming Friday night at Louisville Motor Speedway, the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s for the Figure-8 division. You can pick up your advanced discount tickets at any participating Pronto Auto Parts store. As they move down into turns 3 and 4, pacing themselves for the start, we take a look at the front row and we find the X8 of Charlie Hartz up on the front row in his Amco transmissions, pushing to win Racing Chevrolet. He's starting right up alongside Lester Sattel in car number X26, and the green flag comes out and they're racing into turns 1 and 2. Brandenburg, Kentucky's Rick Kelly in the X89 also on the second row as they come out of turn number 2 and down through the intersection. Buddy Vertrees in car number 41 also pops into the top 5 early in this event, along with Harold Murphy in the number 06. But as they come around to complete lap number 1, it's Lester Sattel out front, Charlie Hartz running at second, the number 6 of Danny Skaggs going third, followed by the number 89 of Rick Kelly as they come out of turn number 2 and approach the intersection. Unfortunately, Lester Sattel was eliminated during a crash, and we'll show you that accident during our greatest hits of the week portion of our program in a few moments. However, the battle for the lead came down between 2 cars, Danny Skaggs driving the X6 and the number 41 of Buddy Vertrees. Vertrees racing around the outside, avoids an accident at the intersection, and then has excellent track position going into turns 1 and 2. He takes over the number 1 spot now with Danny Skaggs in the X6 running second. And again, they avoid an accident at the intersection. By the mid portion of the event, Buddy Vertrees was holding a comfortable lead over the number 38 of Dennis Knoll. The third place running car, Danny Skaggs, though, is collected at the intersection by the number 0 of Raymond Johnson. By the final few laps of the contest, Chuck Barnes has worked his way up to second place. We see the 41 of Buddy Vertrees. Barnes at second avoids the number X8 at the intersection of Charlie Hartz. But the number 41 of Buddy Vertrees clearly dominated the field last Friday evening and took his Bachman Chevrolet Motor Parts Center Racing Chevrolet to victory over Chuck Barnes. Harold Murphy finishing up at second. Dennis Knoll finishes up at third, and Raymond Johnson rounds out the top 5. Once again, Vertrees also sponsored by Vertrees Sign Company and West 44 Auto Parts, as well as B&R Speed Shop. And that's the way they finished in the A feature for the top 24 drivers in point standings. Taking a look at the last lap of racing action from the B feature for the AutoWorks Figure-8 division, and a very spirited battle between the number X51 of Jim Berry and the number X14 of Larry Holbert. Berry crossed the line first in this event, but the win was awarded to Larry Holbert. Unfortunately, Jim had an oversized camshaft in his engine and was disqualified. Car number X14, Larry Holbert, is credited with the win, driving the Robert Holbert Trucking Company Racing Chevrolet. Dan Moody across the line at second. John Cozart finishes up at third. And in the C feature for the AutoWorks Figure-8 division, it was Ron Hargensheimer Jr. collecting the victory over Roy Douglas and Chuck Wolf. In the first of two Kintyre General Tire Rookie Bomber feature events, the car number 290, Raymond Bush and his Morris Bush Sod Company Racing Chevrolet takes the victory over Mark Mattingly as well as Monty Brown. In the second feature, it was Dennis Allgaier collecting the victory over Jim Frankie and Gary Lucas. Let's take a look at the heat race results from last Friday evening out at Louisville Motor Speedway. So great racing action last Friday here at Louisville Motor Speedway with the AutoWorks Figure-8 division, the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman, and the Kintyre General Tire Rookie Bombers. One of the leading drivers in the Figure-8 division, as a matter of fact, Danny Blackwell is going for his third championship in a row in the AutoWorks Figure-8 division here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Right down in the pit area here, Scott Douglas is standing by with the driver going for his third championship in a row, Danny Blackwell.
Thanks, Frank. Want to take a minute to get ready for the big doings coming up Friday night here at Louisville Speedway as Pronto Auto Parts and Motorcraft present the second annual Twin 25 Figure-8 Classic, and the defending champion is standing by with me. Not only our defending season champion, but also the man who won this event a year ago, Danny Blackwell. And Danny, let's just start talking about that event a year ago. What do you remember most about the Twin 25s and about the different format? Because it is unusual in terms of what you guys do every week here.
Well, what sticks out in my head the most that I remember is I had to build a new car for that race. And we run 2 4s, which give us 8 points, and I had the less points, so that made me the winner. I really like the races like that where it's on the point system, because you could do bad in the first one and good in the second one and still come out being overall winner.
You've got to be consistent, though, right?
Right, that's the whole thing, is being consistent in any kind of racing. Like Tony Conway, he's the current point leader. He's averaging 23, 24 points a night, and that's just like winning. And, you know, he's going to be hard to beat.
Now, like you talk about it, it's 26 points to win a feature night, 8 points to win a heat race, so the most anybody can ever get is 34. And what your point, I guess, with Tony is if you can come up with a consistent 23, 24 average, that's how you win championships.
It sure is, and he's on the right track.
Right, that's something that obviously is your goal, though, Danny. You've won the Figure-8 title 2 years in a row, and it's something that you don't want to rest on those laurels. You want to move on.
Well, yeah, I'd love to, but, you know, it's going to be hard, and we're just going to have to settle down, take it race by race, and if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. We'll be back.
You know, it's a situation, too, where you are up there enough in points where Tony's not much further behind you. Obviously, he always has to start on the tail, but you're doing well enough that you still got to come way off the back, and it's so tough in these Figure-8 features.
Yeah, the competition has really grown and is real strong over here now. And you got, I've been watching myself, and I've been getting too anxious, and that's not my good point. My good point is being patient, and I'm letting it get to me. So I need to start calming down a little more and taking it lap after lap, car after car, and I think I'll be better off. I've had a lot of bad luck at the start of this year, but we'll be all right.
When you win 2 championships, obviously you got to be doing something right. Tell us about the people who've been with you over the years and who've helped you out and who've helped get you to where you are, Danny.
Well, one of my biggest sponsors that helped me right in the middle of my career, that helped me a whole lot, introduced me to some people that helped me and really helped me out financially, was Ashby Trucking. And of course, we've got Banquet Table this year. They've been real good to us, and all the guys in the neighborhood. My brother Timmy, he's helped me from day one, and I can't think of everybody, but I'm grateful to them all.
Why did you want to be a Figure-8 racer?
That's what I growed up around. You know, I just, you know, I enjoy it, the excitement, the adrenaline, the thrill of it, and everybody likes to win, and I can win at it, so that's why I like it.
And you've told me before when we've talked that you feel like you kind of got schooled on the best back in the old Figure-8 days at the fairgrounds with some awesome Figure-8 racers.
Yeah, I really do. You know, Andy Vertrees, Jim Taylor, Paul McNair, Ray Crane, Ronnie Hargensheimer, Smokey Bishop. I mean, the list is big like it is today. And if you run with them guys that run hard and come here to win, if you run with them, they'll show you how to get to winner's circle.
Folks, I tell you what, I think in about 15 or 20 years, there's probably somebody walking around these pits as a youngster right now is going to be telling us about how he learned the ropes from Danny Blackwell. Danny hopes to put another Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s on the trophy mantel case this coming Friday night. Now back to Frank Scott.
All right. So there you have it. Scott Douglas speaking with Danny Blackwell as Danny prepares to go for his third Figure-8 championship in a row here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Well, all up and down the pit road here at the Speedway, drivers are getting ready to go for their first championship. One driver here alongside of me, Frank Kimmel's machine, receiving some last-minute adjustments before he goes out onto the track. Let's take a look at the racing action from last Saturday evening here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Taking a look now at the final portions of the 40-lap feature event for the Winston Busch late models. It saw one caution flag period after another for several reasons, some of which we'll show you in the greatest hits of the week portion. Final stages of the contest, and it's car number 02 out front, Sammy Price in his first full year in the late model division. The number 3 of Marty Belcher tries him on the inside for the checkered flag, but Scott Walters whips around the outside of Marty Belcher and takes over the number 2 position as the checkered flag comes out. Congratulations to Sam Price on his first feature win in the late model division. His car sponsored by Riverport Warehouse as well as L&T Properties, Kroger's Automotive, and Cardinal Insulation. Across the line at second, it was Scott Walters, and then finishing up at third, Marty Belcher, followed by defending track champion Frank Kimmel, and the number 98, the current point leader, Keith Gardner. Taking a look now at the racing action from the Ken Tyree Auto Care Center General Tire Mini Stock Division. And in the late stages of the contest, the number 54 of Mike Linton driving a BMW pacing the field. The number 44 of Gary Martin running at second as they move down the back straightaway and into turns 3 and 4. That's pretty much the way they won, or they came across the finish line in the feature event. Mike Linton collecting the victory over Gary Martin, the current point leader. The number 95 of Jim Kirk finished up at third, and rounding out the top 4, it was Dale Thomas driving a Datsun. Checking out the action now from the Dial 1 Oval Bomber Division and the final few laps of the A feature for the top 24 drivers in the point standings. Up in turn number 4, Craig Lanham turns it a little sideways, collects Doug Stevens, spins across the track, collects Charles Fox, who gets twisted around. Terry Scott slips by, but the number 94 of Wayne Guest and the 054 of Ken Johnson weren't so lucky. The number 8 of Doug Miller driving the Club Caddies Racing Chevrolet drives through the melee up there in the 4th turn area and is awarded the victory. Across the line at second, it was Fred Greenwell, followed by Vernon Hayes, Roy Douglas, and Jeff Hadley. The B feature was won by Andy Murphy over Hoyt Scott and Larry Lathan, and in the C feature, it was Gary Drupp taking the victory over Randy McCauley as well as Chad Renfro. In the B feature for the Ken Tyree General Tire Mini Stock Division, the number 94 crossed the line at first, but unfortunately he was disqualified on a technicality. The win was awarded to George Lawrence, driving car number 16. Across the line at second, it was Mark Heitzer in the number 03. Incidentally, that car prepared by a vocational school bunch out of Huntington, West Virginia, and Frankie Strong finishes up at third. A very strong finish at third place. Let's take a look at the heat race results from last Saturday night at Louisville Motor Speedway. Some of the great racing action that you'll be seeing each and every Saturday nights here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Those are the highlights and results from last Saturday evening. Here we're having a look at the sponsor on Joe Williamson Sr.'s automobile. Fine driver out of Shively, Kentucky. Joe's a former NHRA drag racer and a former dirt track racer. And, well, Joe is just one of many of the hot dogs here at Louisville Motor Speedway. It's time now that we honor the driver that turned in the best performance of the weekend here at Louisville Motor Speedway with our Fisher's Top Dog of the Week Award. And for that, let's go to Scott Douglas.
Well, it's time now to honor the top performance of the last racing weekend at Louisville Motor Speedway as we name this week's recipient of the Fisher's Top Dog of the Week Award. After an outstanding run in an action-packed Dial 1 Oval Bomber Division feature on Granger Select Night, the panel at Louisville Motor Speedway has selected Doug Miller, the Bomber A feature winner, as this week's Fisher's Top Dog of the Week. So after his great run in the Dial 1 Bomber race, we congratulate our Fisher's Top Dog of the Week, Doug Miller.
So that's our Fisher's Top Dog of the Week award winner. Before you can be the Top Dog of the Week, you've got to turn in an extra great performance here at Louisville Motor Speedway. And the cars are going around the Speedway very, very quick, and sometimes accidents can happen. The start of the 1991 racing season, Ronnie Page's car, the one right here beside me, was one of the best appearing cars here at the Speedway. But as you can see, Ronnie's gotten into some of the racing wars out onto the Speedway. We see tire burns on the side. Of course, Sam Swope name here on the door. As we get on down, you see the business end of the race car, as we can see that Ronnie sustained a little damage there. Let's take a look at some of the greatest hits of the week at Louisville Motor Speedway. Well, our first greatest hit of the week comes from the Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division last Friday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway in the heat race action. Car number 29, Reed Boone, drifts up a little bit too high coming out of turn number 4, comes across the racetrack, collects the number 47 of Tom Seidler, as well as the number 12 of Darrell Hadley. Sometimes it's just rookie's night out. Our second greatest hit of the week comes from the AutoWorks Figure-8 feature. And at the intersection, the leader of the race, the X26 of Lester Sattel, crashes with James Renfro driving the 169. And then both cars collide with the outside retaining wall here on the front straightaway. Fortunately, both drivers escaped uninjured. Okay, race fans, it's time for a little driving lesson. Say in the Figure-8 division, and say somebody gets in your way on the racetrack. Say like a Jeff Roberts driving X86. Well, you go to two-time defending Figure-8 champion Danny Blackwell, and he'll tell you to throw it down in the four-wheel drive and crush the sucker like Bigfoot the monster truck. Our next greatest hit of the week comes from the AutoWorks Figure-8 division as well, as the number X6 of Danny Skaggs collects his older brother, the X2 of Buck Skaggs, and it certainly wasn't a night at the intersection for the Skaggs family. In fact, it's probably a family reunion of some sort. The Figure-8 division, one of the liveliest divisions at Louisville Motor Speedway, and sometimes they square dance out there at the intersection. And it's kind of like swing your partner going into turns 1 and 2. That's Keith Whalen in the 64. And the 44 there of Artie Ware getting spun around. And yes, Figure-8 racing is a contact sport. You know, race fans, it's hard enough to negotiate the Figure-8 course with nothing over your windshield, but look at Dale Puckett in car number 99. The hood blew back over the windshield, and he's still negotiating the Figure-8 course. Then this happens at the intersection. Charlie Hall and the number 56 of Bill Riley Jr. connect, along with Gordon Denton in car number 021. Here's another example of some of the racing action you may see during the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s. At the intersection, several cars tangling going into turns 3 and 4. And yes, sometimes the accidents don't always happen at the intersection, as you can see down in the 3rd and 4th turn of the Figure-8 course. And remember, race fans, advanced discount tickets still available at Pronto Auto Parts at participating dealers. And again, you may see accidents like this at the intersection. There's Keith Trimble in the 016. He tangles up with a couple of cars and then hits the outside retaining wall. Here's some racing action from the rookie bomber division. Why do we call them rookies? Well, check this out. On the back straightaway, Danny Coffey in the number 37, well-known mobile home transporter around the area, turns it around in the 4th turn area of the Speedway and is collected by another automobile. That's Kim Elsey in the 247. From our NASCAR-sanctioned Winston Busch late models, we get this footage in heat race action Saturday night. Down the back straightaway, it's Carl Wheeler in car number 34, pops a wheelie going into turns 1 and 2, and collects the number 10 of Jimmy Logue. Logue reaching out, putting the window net up, and begins climbing out of the automobile unhurt, both drivers uninjured. Our next bit of crunching comes from the Dial 1 Oval Bomber division on Saturday night as the number 25 of Fred Greenwell. Now here's another driving lesson right here. If you can't drive around them, drive under them. And it's Vernon Hayes in the 737 up along the underside of the number 35 of Rick Jones. And it looks like Wayne Guess in the number 94 was also involved. Our next bit of action comes from the Winston Busch late models. Last Saturday evening at Louisville Motor Speedway, Chuck Winder spins over in turn number 2, but look what happens down in turn number 4. Remember the car I was standing beside, the number 33 of Ronnie Page? He gets turned around on the front straightaway, and the number 95 of Fred Williams meets him head on here. The caution flag comes out, and look out right here on the front straightaway. The number 83 of David Cornetti was also involved. In the Dial 1 Oval Bomber feature event last Saturday evening, we find Nick Reed in the number 21 along with Roy Douglas in 194. But coming out of turn number 2, it's Terry Wilbert who gets collected in the middle of the back straightaway, along with the number 04 of Keith Brewer and several other cars joining into the fray as well. Well, race fans, this wasn't quite a hit, but if it was, Rhonda Greer, our track photographer, would be doing the Iggy Shuffle. There's the number 21, Steve Muse, and his wild Volkswagen Rabbit sliding across the infield, and our track photographer, Rhonda Greer, doing the Iggy Shuffle there in the infield, escapes injury. And our 13th greatest hit of the week at Louisville Motor Speedway comes in the C feature for the Dial 1 Oval Bomber Division. In car number 290, Raymond Bush loses a right rear tire, and it goes rolling across the infield there harmlessly. I thought it was going to fall flat there in between the first and second turn. Unfortunately, the tire is collected by another car, and it goes airborne over in the second turn area, goes up and bounces the outside retaining wall before it falls flat. And one thing's for certain, you won't fall flat at Louisville Motor Speedway, some of the most exciting racing action in the Kentuckiana area.
Well, lots of great action here on Channel 15 this week, and this coming Friday night at Louisville Speedway, the first major figure-8 race of 1991. We've been talking about it throughout this half hour, and Frank, it's just about here. The Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25.
It's a great event. It was a great event last year, and of course, the drivers don't have to compete in just one figure-8 feature event. They've got to compete in 2 to win the overall. And I tell you what, Danny Blackwell didn't win either race last year, but he won the best overall performance for that night and came away with the victory. So the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25s is one of the unique figure-8 events here at Louisville Motor Speedway, and the only thing I can tell you about it is come early and get a good seat.
And get ready for the highlights to be coming back at you next Wednesday night right here on Channel 15. Now, we've talked a lot about Friday. Don't forget a big Saturday night, and a lot of good people from GE are going to be coming by Saturday night.
That's right. All the employees from General Electric are going to be coming out tonight and enjoying, or not tonight, but Saturday night, to enjoy a great evening of stock car racing, NASCAR sanctioned style here at Louisville Motor Speedway.
And again, we're getting ready for a big weekend. The Memorial Day weekend will be huge. That's what we'll be talking about next week, along with looking at highlights from the Pronto Auto Parts Motorcraft Twin 25 at 11:30 Wednesday night right here on Channel 15. Till then, I'm Scott Douglas.
And I'm Frank Scott. Tune in each and every Wednesday evening right here on WKPC Channel 15 for the highlights and results here at Louisville Motor Speedway. That's Wednesday evenings at 11:30, and don't forget the replays at 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. Saturday mornings, right here on your favorite channel, WKPC Channel 15.